Hi there, it's Dave Altavilla for Hot Hardware, and this is the ASUS G751JY 17-inch gaming notebook. Now, obviously, the G751 is a big, bad desktop replacement machine weighing in at almost 8.5 pounds. But in addition to its sweet-looking red and flat black muscular stylings, this new heavyweight gaming notebook sports some impressive specs, as well as some new graphics technology under the hood. Now, the G751 that we tested is powered by an Intel Core i7-4710HQ quad-core processor with turbo boost speeds up to 3.5 GHz, as well as 24 GB of DDR3 1600 MHz system memory, a 256 GB PCI Express M2 solid-state drive, a 1 TB 7200 RPM hard drive, and none other than NVIDIA's all-new GeForce GTX 980M Maxwell mobile GPU with 4 GB of GDDR5 memory. This NVIDIA graphics engine comes with a wealth of newfound performance as well as new features, which we'll get into shortly. The G751 is set up with Windows 8.1, and its 17-inch 1920 by 1080 Full HD display has a clean matte finish with good brightness, contrast, and reasonably good viewing angles. This is a big screen machine that is essentially equipped with all the horsepower of a full-sized mid-range gaming desktop PC, but in a 16.4-inch wide by 12.5-inch deep by 1.7-inch thick DTR notebook frame. On the right edge of the machine, you'll find ports for the headphone, microphone, and line-out audio connectivity, 2 USB 3 ports, a Thunderbolt port, HDMI output, Gigabit Ethernet, VGA output, interestingly enough, and a DC input port. On the left edge of the machine, you'll find an SD card slot. Our machine came equipped with a Blu-ray ROM drive, and 2 more USB 3 ports and a Kensington lock port. The G751 is a really well-built machine with its traditional flat black and brushed aluminum build that ASUS calls its stealth fighter design. With its red trimmed accents, it really does look sharp, clean, and, well, kind of badass. The rear of the machine features red metal radiator vents that exhaust air off the ASUS Duo Copper thermal solution inside, which are heat pipes with dual independent fans for cooling both the GPU and CPU. The good news is, even under serious gaming load, these fans don't spin up to annoying levels at all. You can hear them, but their acoustic signature is completely within reason, especially considering the horsepower this machine puts out. The keyboard area of the G751 is nice and spacious, as you'd expect on a full-size machine like this. The experience is mostly comfortable, though key travel could be a little bit more pronounced. Still, with just a bit of learning curve, you'll move quickly on this deck in no time. The Enter, Shift, Backspace, and Delete keys are properly sized with comfortable locations. You're also treated to a full-size numpad, and keycaps have nice red accents that are also backlit. Also, the W, A, S, and D keys are color-coded for easier recognition when gaming. The G751 is from the ASUS Republic of Gamers, or ROG series of products, so ASUS has enabled things like their TurboMaster GPU overclocking technology for a 5% graphics performance boost on demand. The bottom side of the G751 is light on venting due to its robust cooling system that pulls air in the front of the notebook and pushes warm air out the back. There are actually only a couple of small vents in the bottom of the chassis for airflow around the memory and storage component area. And so thankfully, this machine isn't too bad of a lap warmer, and it won't leave you sterile if you decide to actually use it as a laptop. And there's one more grill area over here that's actually the system's speaker port. Incidentally, audio from the G751 is loud enough, but uninspiring in terms of fidelity, as are most notebooks, frankly. Also, removing a single rubber cap and screw underneath allows you access to the SODIMM slots and hard drive area of the system. Here you can see the G751's M2 PCI Express mini-card gumstick style solid-state drive, as well as its 1 TB hard drive. And the SODIMM sockets are set up for easy access as well. Finally, the AC adapter that powers and charges the ASUS G751 actually isn't too hefty a brick. It's definitely a brick, but a lighter brick, so to speak. And again, the ASUS G751 that we tested came equipped with NVIDIA's all-new GeForce GTX 980M mobile graphics engine and their latest Maxwell architecture that's optimized for mobile performance. The GeForce GTX 980M is a 1536 CUDA-core GPU with a base clock of 1038 MHz, with a 5 GHz effective GDDR5 data rate over a 256-bit interface for over 160 gigabytes of total memory bandwidth. That's a lot of bits. This graphics engine also sports 4 gigabytes of dedicated GDDR5 memory. The actual graphics card that all of this is enabled on in this machine is a PCI Express x 16 Gen 3 device. In addition to being capable of the same new features as NVIDIA's desktop GeForce GTX 980 GPU, the GTX 980M also supports NVIDIA's new Dynamic Super Resolution or DSR rendering, multi-frame sampled anti-aliasing or MFAA, and voxel global illumination or VXGI. If you want to check out these features in more detail, hit the hot hardware link in our show notes below. Also, this Maxwell mobile variant supports NVIDIA's battery boost technology, which is found in their GeForce Experience app. This technology allows you to exchange a bit of frame rate for lower GPU power consumption via a slider. The technology can actually help extend battery life quite a bit in game engines that aren't as taxing on the GPU, when you can maintain a lower but still playable frame rate and conserve battery life instead. But let's look at some full power benchmark numbers to give you a sense of what the ASUS G751 is capable of with its GeForce GTX 980M mobile graphics engine. Here's a quick take look at the machine running 3D Mark Firestrike at its extreme preset. As you can see, frame rate is smooth and fast here, and the machine actually puts out a score that's nearly 2x that of the previous gen GeForce GTX 980M, and it totally smokes a Radeon M290X mobile GPU. And in Metro Last Light, which is a real GPU crusher, things are also pretty buttery at 1920 by 1080 with very high quality settings, SSAA, and motion blur enabled. Here, the GTX 980M in the ASUS G751 scores a similar average frame rate to the older GeForce GTX 880M, but much higher minimum frame rate. And finally, here in Hitman Absolution, the ASUS G751 and the GTX 980M mobile graphics power plant rip through the benchmark at full 1080p with 4x AA turned on and ultra high quality settings. Here the 980M bests the previous generation 880M by a healthy 17% average frame rate and 3 times its minimum frame rate. In this test, AMD's GPUs tend to be slightly more favored, so the Radeon M290X makes a better showing, but it still falls well short of the GTX 980M powering the ASUS G751. So the ASUS G751 gaming notebook comes in 2 base configurations currently. The G751JY with either a Core i7-4860HQ quad-core processor or i7-4710HQ quad-core processor, along with NVIDIA's GeForce GTX 980M graphics processor for an MSRP of $2499. And there's also an ASUS G751JT model with the Core i7-4710HQ again, but a GeForce GTX 970M mobile graphics chip and a dual-layer DVD-RW drive instead of the Blu-ray player we had installed in our system, and that lists for an MSRP of $1899 currently. But make sure you stop by hothardware.com for our full detailed review with all the analysis of what could be one of our favorite gaming notebooks to hit the market this year. And be sure to subscribe here to our channel for future reviews and our weekly 2.5 Geeks webcast. It's Dave Altavilla with the ASUS G751 gaming notebook and NVIDIA's GeForce GTX 980M Maxwell mobile graphics engine. Thanks for stopping by.